What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream, and happy Friday, people, as we approach a big weekend for Arsenal Football Club, man. Back-to-back defeats in the Premier League. We take a break this weekend, we go to the FA Cup, and you're thinking, yeah, maybe a nice easy draw, League One team or something. No, we get Liverpool at home, and listen, the pressure is revving up on this manager. One win in our last 6 games in all competition. That was the 2-0 win against Brighton. This, on paper, you would say this is the competition that Arsenal are probably have a good possibility of winning. At the moment, the Premier League looks very difficult. The Champions League, extremely difficult. So, listen, Arsenal need to get their act together. Otherwise, this season will head in the wrong direction. I had a lot to say yesterday. It's all honest on here, people. We shoot straight from the hip. Very much like the Cat Williams interview. We're exposing everything, people. We ain't holding nothing back. The Kroenkes, Edu, Arteta, the players, we're coming for all of them. 20 years, no title. I'm sick of it, people. We're going mad right now. But listen, a win against Liverpool would certainly settle things down and calm me down a little bit. And I'm sure the majority of the fans out there. It is January, of course. Are Arsenal going to spend any money, sign any players? I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. Trixie said, don't know why you think we're going to change. Well, as I said yesterday, people, a lot of people saying to me, you can't give up on the club. And I said, the best thing I can say is hope and belief are two different things. Do I believe Arsenal will win the Premier League and the Champions League? No, I don't. I don't think we have the quality or the know-how. Do I hope we win the Premier League and the Champions League? Absolutely. Hope is a different thing. That's why we're fans. That's why we watch them despite all the years of frustration and, missing out on trophies and big signings. Hope and belief are two different things. We hope every day, for our football club. But the belief, they need to show us that belief. At the end of the day, they need to prove themselves. LSU said, we aren't going to spend Havertz. The striker will be like a new signing. Shah saying Arteta out. Saliba saying, there's a few of you saying Arteta out, man, in the comments today. What's going on? Cello said, big up Big C and the C unit. And big up to everyone locked in. Hope you're well on this Friday. And if Arsenal win or lose on Sunday against Liverpool, there will be a 2-week break over the winter period for Arsenal. All clubs are getting a week or 2-week break depending on when their next fixture is. We're going to have 13 days off if we win or lose against Liverpool. Marco said, we're never going to be serious with this ownership. We're always the nearly team. I mean, I was watching NBA last night, and the NBA streams will arrive. But, I see Jokic, buzzer beater. I think one of the biggest contracts in NBA history, and you're like, they're paying all that money to get those performances to win the major trophies, and you think, we're over here talking about, we might get a player in on loan because we can't buy anybody, and it drives me mad. It drives me crazy. I can't lie, people, but I'd be here talking till tomorrow morning if I really continued with it. Salman said Arteta out. The brother can't see talent and won't sell out bum players because he loves them. The process is over. I once said that this process was like a microwave burger. Like, it's not real. It's food, but it ain't real food. Like, this is a process, but it ain't a real process. The process should end in silverware. But hey, he's going to be here until probably beyond this season. So no matter what I say, this brother's still going to continue unless things get horribly bad, which obviously I hope they don't. And listen, I've always said one thing. I hope he proves me wrong. I hope I end up looking stupid. I'll be shameless. I'll say I've always rated him. I'll put him on the green screen. I'll tweet my manager. And I'll be at the parade shamelessly in merch. I hope I'm there. I hope I'm there, people. You know me, I won't hide from it. Accountability, I don't run from it. But people are saying, oh yeah, lost 2 games and you're having a meltdown. It's not 2 games. This is an accumulation, people, of what's happened over the past few years and beyond, But we'll see. I said before, Give him until the end of the season. You know, that the money isn't there in January, and they're not going to change. Let him finish the season, and then we'll review it. But, you know, let's see what happens. Arsenalist said, Big C, Mikel Arteta has 18 months remaining on his contract. If he misses another trophy this season, will you still renew his contract? Not for me, to be honest. Listen, everything has context. If you finish second in the Premier League and you lose the title by 2 points, and Haaland scores 37 goals, and you weren't quite as good as them, you can say, sometimes you have to be honest and say, okay, Manchester City are better than Arsenal. If they play to their best and we play to our best, they're going to outdo us because they've got De Bruyne, Haaland, Rodri. But the problem is, Man City are performing below their best. And it should have always been a situation that if Man City dropped off, the benefit, you know, the team that benefited from that should have been Arsenal. We finished second. We had the title race. We spent 100 million on a player. We spent 200 plus million. The fact that Liverpool are ahead of us after the season they had last year is where it's a little bit damning, because they had an absolute meltdown of a season last year, and then all of a sudden they're ahead of us. But a lot can change. 7 days ago we were top of the Premier League. 7 days later it's a mini crisis. So who knows where we'll be in another 7 days' time from here. All I will say is, if we lose to Liverpool, he's in big trouble, in my opinion. If we beat Liverpool, all of a sudden there's a very good feel-good factor. You've got 2 weeks to maybe go into the window. So we'll see. But a lot to talk about today. Gunnar G said his best chance to prove us wrong was last season. He won't get no better than that. The way he's moving now, and Havertz signing and so on. And I said this last year. And I don't want to be pessimist. But I said, I don't believe Arteta gets a better chance than what happened last season. It was us and City and nobody else. You will not see many seasons where that happens, where Liverpool are just out of it. And look, Liverpool are back, and even Aston Villa are in the mix. I keep saying, I think Villa will fall off, but at the moment they haven't fallen off. So, listen, I think this is a harder season than last season to win the league. Big up Fitzy said, I literally have no faith in Arteta. I asked this question at the start of the season on AFTV. I asked it on here. I said, do you think Mikel Arteta will win a title at Arsenal Football Club? And a lot of people said no. And I said, well, if you don't believe he can, then why is he still the manager? If you believe he can, then it's down to the owners. But anyway, let's move on. Big up Fitz in the chat. Hope you're well, bro. Hope everyone's having a great week. And a big game on Sunday. That is for sure. Against Liverpool. There's obviously some concerns. Ben White, people saying he's not fully fit. Zinchenko, the manager has said in the press conference, he's give it that old, well, we've got a training session today and tomorrow, so we'll see how he is. He says that all the time. And usually that player doesn't play when he says that. So, you know, the thing that really concerns me is we could potentially go into an FA Cup game against Liverpool with Jakub Kiwior at left back and Cedric at right back, which is just scary. It's scary beyond belief. Before we get into today's show, a couple of things I want to talk about, and we got lots of transfer news to talk about. We'll obviously preview the game against Liverpool, press conference reaction, so on and so forth. Just, you know, if you want to get a little bit of planning ahead. Arsenal are planning to go to Dubai for a mini sunshine break. They better not be holidaying after the way they've played the last 2 weeks. I'm sure Ben White will be delighted. Maybe he'll be selling tickets over there for nightclubs, the way he's been playing. But listen, Arsenal are planning to go to Dubai for a mini sunshine break after next Sunday's FA Cup third round tie with Liverpool. But the dates are likely to have to be a little flexible in case Arsenal end up getting a replay and have to go to Anfield. Now, if we draw with Liverpool, we will play a replay in the next week at Anfield, which, honestly, that is what I would say with this game for Arsenal. They've got to go all out to win it. I think a draw is a terrible result for Arsenal, because you don't want Arsenal to have to go to Anfield during a 2-week break when you just want this team to win, have 2 weeks, relax, try and get Partey closer to fitness, get Timber, 2 more weeks till we get, 2 or 3 weeks until we get Tomiyasu back as well. A draw would actually be a disaster for Arsenal. I'm being genuinely serious because, number one, we're already stretched, especially in defence. Number two, we got a terrible record at Anfield. And number three, you get no rest. So if I'm Arsenal, you go all out for the win. You actually gamble for the win rather than getting the draw. Listen, as I said, everything is context again. You're 3-0 down and you draw 3-3. You're happy with the draw, but a draw is not a good result. We've got a shocking record at Anfield. We need to win. We need to win this game. So they'll be heading to Dubai for a winter break. A training camp over there, warm weather training. But as I said, if they draw with Liverpool, there will be a replay at Anfield in the next week. So, yeah, a draw would not be a good result for us, especially with our injury problems at the moment in defence. Big up Wama, hey, big up Wama. Legend as always. He's gifted 10 Curtis Shaw TV memberships to the community. Happy Friday, people. Really appreciate you all tuned in. Already nearly 1,500 of you locked in. Big up the 38 of you on Twitch as well. The whole C unit. And, yeah, welcome to the 10 new members. There'll be a member stream next week. Hopefully there will be a winter break. And we will discuss the transfer window. And I want to get your opinions on the halfway point of the season. Big up Golazzo. It's Friday then. It's Saturday, Sunday. Hey, listen, enjoy your weekend, man. Sunday, we don't know how that one's going to work out. Yeah, I've seen it. Kimmich being linked with a move to Manchester City, which is, something that I've always said about Man City is they can get better. I don't really think that Man City flex their muscle that much in the transfer market in the summer by signing players like Kovacic. If they really turn up the heat and go a little bit crazy, we'll be in real big trouble. So yeah, Manchester City being linked with Kimmich. He's said to have had a bit of a disagreement with Thomas Tuchel over there, and Kimmich being linked with Manchester City, which, yeah, if he goes there, I mean, Kimmich, De Bruyne and Rodri as a midfield three and Bernardo and Foden, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. But hey, you get to a January transfer window and you do your business right, guess what? You can go and sign quality players. Arsenal should be trying to sign Kimmich or a player of that level, or, somebody that can influence your team. But if I speak, I'm suspended 6 months. Fit said, Wenger fought against Fergie and still won. Bertie Mee fought Shankly and still won. The whole Pep excuse is a fallacy. It is. It is. Jurgen Klopp wipes away any excuse of Pep Guardiola. If Pep had cleaned up every trophy, you'd say no one can compete with them. Jurgen Klopp's sitting there with a Champions League, Premier League, FA Cup and a League Cup. So that whole excuse goes out the window. Klopp's won everything with Pep here and spent similar money to Arsenal. So that nonsense goes out the window as far as I'm concerned. Big up Whammer. A lot of people saying thanks for the membership, legend that you are, and big up Fitz for the super chats as well. Right, let's get into transfer news. I got to cheer the mood up a little bit, although I don't know if these stories will actually cheer the mood up a little bit. But an interesting one that I want to talk about. We spoke yesterday about Kieran Tierney. And Kieran Tierney's done an interview with the Record Sport. And this story is really interesting. I couldn't believe it yesterday. But the Record. So listen, what has Kieran Tierney said? He was asked about a potential return to Arsenal in January. Tierney said, several people have already asked me if I was going to return to Arsenal now. And the answer is no. I'm going to stay here, Real Sociedad, for sure. As for staying here longer, the decision is not mine. But the only thing I can say is that I love playing for Real. Everything is fine with Arteta. Last year I didn't play and spent a lot of time on the bench, but this is football. I have no problem with it. I had almost no injuries. I played about 30 games, many coming off the bench, but I felt fine. Now, what is crazy about this is This is what I'm trying to say here. If there was no release clause, if there was no recall clause in the contract, Tierney surely would have said, I can't go back to Arsenal. I don't have the option. There's no recall clause. The fact he's coming out and saying, I'm not going back to Arsenal, that almost indicates that we could recall him, but he's saying no to us, which is crazy because we're his employers. We pay his wages. He's contracted to Arsenal. Doesn't matter if you're on loan at Real Sociedad. Doesn't even matter if you love playing for Real Sociedad. We pay your wages. We need a left back. You get the next plane back to Heathrow, mate. You're playing on Sunday against Liverpool. He's turning around saying, people are asking me if I'm going to return to Arsenal, and the answer's no. I'm going to stay here. As for staying here longer, the decision is not mine. So obviously, I think what's happened, and this is me putting two and two together, I could be completely wrong. I think Arsenal have loaned him out with the intention of selling him. This isn't the loan that you come back from in 12 months and then all of a sudden, you come back. This is go to Sociedad, have a good season, and then sign for them on a permanent or go somewhere else. Because in reality, Arteta will be thinking, you've got Zinchenko, you've got Jurriën Timber, you've got Tomiyasu, you get rid of Tierney and you get his 100,000 off the wage bill, and we know he can't invert. If this was me, Arsenal, he hasn't even got the option. I don't care if you love it there, bro. We need you. You're coming back. And, he's firing little shots there at Arteta. I played 30 games. He didn't want to play me. I think there's obviously, whenever you leave a football club because you weren't playing, there's always a little bit of ill feeling, no matter what anybody says in an interview. You don't like a manager that doesn't play you. He can be the coolest manager you've ever met. If he's not picking you, he's an idiot in your mind. And he's probably looking at Zinchenko's defensive performances and thinking, how the hell can I not get in that team? So, listen, Tierney isn't coming back. The crazy thing is, it sounds like we could have called him back. But the player is saying, no, I don't want to come back. What was that song back in the day? But I said, what was it, man? I don't want you back. You remember that song back in the day? I can't remember who sung it. And then there was a girl who sang like the reply to it. Man saying, I don't want to come back. It's crazy. But listen, who can blame him? Kieran Tierney, the guy that loved the cold weather at Arsenal, trained in a T-shirt in the snow. He's loving that Spanish sunshine, man. He said, listen, I ain't coming back. Real Sociedad, top of their Champions League group. They've got PSG coming up. He knows he's going to start both games if he's fit. He's happy over there. Listen, I'm going to be totally honest, and I'm an Arsenal fan. You can't blame Kieran Tierney. I do think Kieran Tierney has been a little bit disrespected at Arsenal Football Club because he is a better left-back than Zinchenko. Yeah, we can talk about inverted, and I understand that, but he's better than him. He's better than him. You could just play him as a conventional left-back, but it is what it is. He's not coming back. He's staying at Real Sociedad, and he's had a little dig at Arteta. Brian, thank you for the super chat. What's going on with Arteta's man management? Tierney, Aubameyang, Pepe, Ozil, Guendouzi, Smith Rowe, 7 different goalkeepers. What is going on? I mean, I suppose the first thing you would say is that all those players you've mentioned outside of the goalkeepers, the common factor is that Arteta didn't sign any of them. Tierney was Emery. Obviously, Aubameyang was Wenger. Pepe was Emery. Ozil was Wenger. Guendouzi was Emery. So none of them were his players. And they all had a bit of personality, a bit of an ego, especially Aubameyang, Ozil, Guendouzi. Smith Rowe came through the youth system, and the goalkeepers is just a puzzle that none of us can figure out. That's part of the kryptonite, I think. The goalkeeper and the striker. He just doesn't seem to be able to figure out who to go with. And this is what I would say with Arteta. You can be a good coach and not a good manager. Sometimes even his coaching is getting questioned by me, though. Like the whole constantly inverting the left back, the whole fact that your striker's running all over the pitch, the lack of overlap from the fullbacks, even his tactics are coming into question for me now. But yeah, it is what it is. It's a real shame because I think Tierney is a very good left back. I really do. And there aren't many good left-backs when you look around now, to be honest. Anyway, let's move on from that. Tierney is not coming back to Arsenal anytime soon, that is for sure. You watch, we'll end up probably getting Real Sociedad in the Champions League, although will we even beat Porto the way we're playing at the moment? We'll have to see. Anyway, let's move on. A bit more transfer news. And there's a light link to this one, but I thought I'd delve into it a little deeper for a bit of context and a bit of a discussion with the community, and let me know what you think. Before I put this player on the screen, and obviously he's in the title of the show today, bear in mind that it appears Arsenal have little to no money to spend in January unless we sell. So these big plans of signing big, massive players for 80 million, they probably got to go out the window unless you see Eddie Nketiah or Ramsdale or somebody of value leave the football club. Arsenal being linked today with Paulo Dybala from Roma. It's come about from an article that Fabrizio Romano wrote today. This is another player that we spoke about many times over the years. He's a bit of he's a FIFA legend, isn't he? You know, the celebration. I always used to like Dybala, to be honest. Just to add a little bit of context, Dybala has just turned 30 years of age. So, you know, he's no spring chicken, that's for sure. You know, some would argue his best years, you would say, are potentially behind him when he was at Juventus. He's now at Roma with Jose Mourinho. And I just want to give you some of his stats. He tends to play second striker, so just behind the front man. Last season, in all competition, he scored 18 goals and got 7 assists, so 25 goal contributions in 38 games last season. So he definitely contributed. This season so far, he's got 5 goals and 7 assists in 16 games. So listen, he's in pretty good form. He turned 30 in November. He's got 2 years left on his deal. 18 months, left on his deal. Now, Dybala has this strange clause in his contract. He can leave for 12 million euros up until the 15th of January. Which is crazy. It'll cost about £9.5 million to bring him in. Now, I don't know. Is it too little, too late? Do you look at him and think, Dybala, 2 or 3, 4 years ago, yep, I would have took him. Now, I'm not so much interested in him at 30. He's had some injuries. As I said, though, last season, you know, he played plenty of games in all competition. 38 games last season, 25 league games. He wasn't injured that much. He can play off the left. He can play up front. He can play behind the striker. £9.5 million for Dybala. I don't know. Do you know what? I'm going to put it in the... I'm going to put a poll up. More polls than an Atlanta strip club, people. Would you sign Dybala for £9.5 million? This is the question. In this window, you know, you could play him behind the striker. I mean, South London's finally said it's a bit too late for me, but I do like him. It's one of them. I think we've all kind of liked him at some stage as a player, the celebration and things like that. Is it too late? Would you sign Dybala for 9.5 million? I mean, listen, we are pretty broke right now, and that is cheap. And he has, you know, he does play in positions that we are struggling at the moment, but would he work at Arsenal? Would he work in the Premier League? Let me know. Listen, that's the kind of deal that I think Arsenal would be all over. There's no real major risk, is what I would say with him, because you would only maybe have to give him a 2-year deal. Give him 2 years. And you know, as a squad player for 2 years, I mean, I'm just looking here at his wages. He is on a heavy wage. This is where the problem would be. He's on 135 grand a week. Not that bad. Listen, I got to be honest. It wouldn't be top of my list. It certainly wouldn't be one that I'm looking for, because ideally I want an out-and-out striker. I want an out-and-out striker. I don't want somebody that's kind of... But if Arsenal signed him for 9.5 million, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I got to be honest. I'd rather be bringing on, you know, Dybala off the bench than bringing Eddie Nketiah and El Neni off the bench. So, listen, not ideal. And I think there's positions that we need more than this position. But if we signed him, I wouldn't be crying about it. Let's put it that way. He's got a little something about him. And as I said, 17 goals last season for him at Roma. Trixie said FFPFC, PRFC, Saka FC, what's your best one? I mean, we are PRFC. You know, VAR FC as well, because, you know, we think the referees hate us. But they all count, bro. They all count. Latte said, just discarded my membership and done with Arteta. Arteta out. Poor man management of Eddie, ESR, Tierney, Ramsdale, etc. Selective ruthlessness. I always say this. I don't mind if a manager's strict. I don't mind if a manager is, you know, more laid back and more relaxed. But you can't pick and choose when to be ruthless, you know, and that's what I don't like with this manager. If you're a favourite of his, you can get away with mediocrity and he'll look after you. If you're a good player with a bit of an attitude, you'll get binned, you know, and that's what I don't like about him at times. Kamal said I'd take Dybala because the other option is no forward. And there you go. That's probably the other option, Kamal. We'll probably end up with no one. Football 14, Dybala is the type of player we need. This nonsense of young players are better has to be going on for so long that we can't win anything. Liverpool and City always get experienced players. Never seen a manager pick faves like Arteta. It's baffling. I've always said this as well, right? Every football club, every working environment, whether it's an office, you're a builder, anything, every manager has favourites. That's just the reality of the situation. But 9 times out of 10, the favourite is one of the best. So you don't mind. You don't mind if Arsene Wenger's favourite was Thierry Henry, because it's Thierry Henry. You don't mind if his favourite is Saliba or Declan Rice or Saka, because you're some of our best players. The thing what's mind-boggling with Mikel Arteta is his favourites are Eddie Nketiah, Zinchenko, David Raya, El Neni gets new contracts, Jorginho, those guys. Now, don't get me wrong, obviously he loves his Salibas, his Rice, his Sakas, but some of your other favourites are some of the players you need to get rid of. And that's the problem with him. You know, that's the problem with Arteta. If he had favourites, but he was ruthless to the rubbish, and he kept getting rid of the rubbish, I'd say that's cool. But he likes some of the worst players at the club. Look how long we had to say, come on, please get rid of Rob Holding. You know, get rid of, but he's all right as a squad player. That's the argument you'd get back from some of the fan base about Rob Holding. Look at the state of Rob Holding at Palace. Roy won't give him a kick. He can't get a kick over there. So, listen, it'll be interesting what we do in January. There's only a light-hearted link saying that Tottenham and Arsenal are keeping an eye on the Dybala situation. Obviously, you're going to get media companies, they're going to say, look, Tottenham got rid of Kane, they didn't sign a striker, Dybala's available, they'll link Tottenham. They'll say Arsenal, they're not scoring goals, they need an attacking player, let's link him to Arsenal. I don't know how true or definitive these links are, but certainly I think Arsenal are looking for bargains in January, which is why I said yesterday on the show, I think Arsenal should be looking at the Saudi market. Because, you know, as their league takes a break, I think there are a lot of players there that Arsenal should be looking at potentially on loan until the end of the season. You know, if I'm Arsenal, Arsenal need a centre midfielder. 2 players in Saudi that spring to mind straight away. One is Ruben Neves. The other one is Frank Kessie. 2 centre midfielders that could come in and would improve our midfield until the end of the season. Get them on loan, pay a lot of their loan fee. You can get them in. At this point, I honestly, you know, Karim Benzema, Cristiano Ronaldo, people would laugh at that, but they're better than what we've got. You create chances for Ronaldo, he'd still hit the back of the net. You create chances for Benzi, he'd still hit the back of the net. He's better than Gabriel Jesus and Nketiah as a goal scorer. You know, you got Milinkovic-Savic over there, you're right with that one. Arsenal should be going to Saudi and trying to get players on loan. 100% that should be a route they're going down. You know, they're about to have a little break over there. And, you know, there are players that we could take for 6 months that would help us, where you don't have to pay any major transfer fee, pay a little bit of their wages, and these guys could help us. These guys could help us, you know. So, but are Arsenal creative enough to do that? I don't know. I know it's not Football Manager. It's not that simple, people will say. But, you know, that is a route I would be going down. Intro, pull it. Listen, you've paid the DJ, so the intro has to get pulled. Run the ting! All right, we'll leave it there. 199, we'll just play the first goal. Second one, we'll leave it. You got to go higher for that. I've been in them yard raves with a man throwing money at the DJ to rewind the track. So, former MVP said, if an attacker has an ego, Arteta doesn't want it. Absolutely. You could argue Aubameyang still hasn't been replaced if we're keeping it a buck. We still don't have a goal scorer. We still don't have a natural goal scorer. Lawrence says, big up my guy, Dybala ain't the type of roughneck Argentinian we need. Well, I don't think it would happen, but you know, the link is there. Money for the pull-up, man. You know how it goes if you've been in them raves. Curtis Henry, sure, I'll take that. Sam says, go to channel. Come on, you ain't going on no YouTube channel today where they're pulling up the intro. Like we're in a rave, like I'm playing, you know, Capleton and Sizzler, people. It's wild. But anyway, great cross, Peter. You better relax. You know where that ball ended up. But listen, go and rave Saudi Arabia. Go and raid the Saudi League. Go and raid it. I'm telling you now. Edu, Arsenal, if you're watching this, go and raid Saudi. There are ballers there. I would take Riyad Mahrez for 6 months on loan. I would take Benzema. I would take Ronaldo. I would take Kessie. I would take Neves. I would take Milinkovic-Savic. There is at least 8-9 players from Saudi who I would target on loan for 6 months. You're not going to get them on a permanent at the end of the season because their wages are through the roof. But for 6 months, those guys could do us a job. LSU said Trossard fell out with De Zerbi. Arteta handles him. Gabby Jesus has an ego. The big ego thing is a myth. Aubameyang had quit on the team already. The thing is, I think I get what you're saying about Trossard, because he did fall out with De Zerbi. Gabriel Jesus has an ego. He has, but he's well behaved. You've never really heard any problems with Jesus at Manchester City. I'd say he's a very well behaved player with an ego. And listen, I'm not saying what Aubameyang was doing at the end was good, because it wasn't. Your captain's turning up late for training and games. There's no way that's a positive thing. But what I'm saying is we haven't replaced his goals. And you knew that Aubameyang was a very big ego, like bigger than Trossard, bigger than Jesus. He was gold Lamborghinis, turning up late, you know, all of it. Swag. But anyway, let's move on. A bit more transfer news, people. And in fact, I'm going to end this Dybala one. Would you take Dybala for 9.5 million? 70% of you say yes. 30% say no. I'm telling you, desperation, people. Because the thing is with Arsenal, and it's like somebody said in the super chat, we'll say no to him, but we won't get anyone. Do you know what I mean? That's the... I don't mind saying no to Dybala if you're getting me a proper player. But we'll say no to him and get nobody. So I'd rather get him for 2 years than no one. But hey, here's what it is. Anyway, let's move on from the talk of Dybala. I don't think it's going to happen. Desperation and entertainment in this transfer market. It's sad, isn't it? It's sad because in reality, whatever we think about Arteta in the last couple months and seasons, in fact, we are still in the title race mathematically. 5 points is not the end of the world. A couple good results and you're right back up there again. But the disappointing thing is that we're in a January window, which they did this window as an opportunity for clubs to go, right, we're in a relegation battle, let's strengthen. We got a chance to get Europe, let's strengthen. We can win the league. Let's give ourselves that final piece in the puzzle that can get us over the finish line. You would love to see Arsenal going crazy and saying, listen, there's your striker, But instead we're going, maybe we'll get a left back on loan. Tierney don't want to come back. We can't afford a striker. It is frustrating. Guile said, run that intro, boss. He's gone up to $4.99. You know me, I'm a man of the people. Run that blood clot. Hey, no more people, no more, please. Seriously, I appreciate the super chats. I won't even get the show finished if you lot keep doing this. Hey, listen, I had to play the second goal for 4.99. People said it was offside. There was no VAR. Kamal said, how are City targeting players and not us? Edu, man. I mean, Edu's got barbecues and jet skis to go on, man. You know what I mean? He can't buy players. Is what it is. You man are turning this into a madness. Run the damn thing, but you have to run it. You know what I mean? You have to run it, man. But hey, it is what it is. No more, please. No more. Otherwise, I'll never finish the show. I got things to do later on. But big up the community. Legends as always. Absolute legends. Big up for the super chats, of course. Hey, I wish I could play music on here. I can't lie if they weren't copywriting me, and I'll be blasting out music as we were doing this. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on again before we get into waffle settings from Arteta, of course. And Daily Dusan, Daily Dusan. The new Yanam Villa, the new Gonzalo Higuain. He's the new Julian Draxler. He's that player we'll be linked with year after year after year and will never join the club. Again, they're linking us with him. There was a story that Juventus needed to sell him, or they would accept selling him if they got an offer that worked for them. But the Juventus director, Giuntoli, says a bid from Arsenal for Dusan Vlahovic. We don't know anything about that story. There's nothing. Vlahovic is not for sale. Listen, I would actually rather we don't talk about him because it's boring. Although I actually kind of like doing the do-do-do. Like, there's something funny about that, you know. It reminds me of them old school, them old school TV programs, man. You know, I don't know. They don't... Again, I'm going to sound old saying this, but I feel like they don't make game shows like they used to, do they? Like, remember back in the day, man, like Family Fortunes and all sorts of things were going off, man, on TV. But, yeah, I don't see them anymore. I don't know what's on. Tipping Point, maybe. But, yeah, I'm not going to talk about this for long. You got better things to do with your time. Vlahovic, you don't want to sign for us. They don't want to sell him. We ain't got the money. There's nothing there to make it, a possibility. The price is right. Who was that? Bruce Forsyth's The Price is Right. Come on. I know I might sound old right now, but they don't... Come on, surely. They don't make game shows like back in the day. It was crazy. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and all that. Yo, it was drama. I don't see nothing on the TV right now. It was crazy. What was that one... The golden balls where you could steal or something at the end and, beer drama, man. But anyway, I don't know. I'm going off topic here. I'm going way off topic. I don't want to start reminiscing because I'll end up talking about, all kinds of old school stuff. We'll be here all day. Catchphrase and all that. Yeah, it was mad back in the day. Higher or lower. I used to turn the cards over. Higher than a 10 is, it was all mad. But anyway, let me stop. Split or steal at the end, innit? It was wild. Supermarket sweep and all that. It was crazy. Gladiators. Awooga! Remember John Fashanu when he... let me stop, because I'll be here all day and you've got things to do. Cal said, Dybala is just an older Trossard. He'll just sit behind Saka, Martinelli and Jesus. Listen, I understand both points of view. On one hand, there's an experienced World Cup winner there that could potentially help us. On the other hand, you might think, you know what, he's a bit washed up. He's 30 on big wages. What's the point? I get both sides of the argument, Jerome said, Big C, since when did you become Wenger out? Because I remember Arsenal challenging till every February, March under Wenger till about 2016 before injuries or something. When did I become Wenger out? Do you know what? Right, and I always said this. I'm glad I never had this YouTube channel when Arsene Wenger was the manager. I'm really glad. And I know I'd have probably had way more subscribers by now. But I'm just glad that my frustration about Wenger was not aired publicly on YouTube, because I was always very... The Wenger thing was always quite difficult for me because I loved Arsene Wenger. I really did. I always said growing up, if you was an Arsenal fan, Arsene Wenger was your second dad. Is that true? Like, Wenger was like people's second dad. It was very difficult for me to disrespect Arsene Wenger, but I felt after the FA Cup when we beat Chelsea. Which one was that? Diego Costa one, I think. That one. Was it 2017? In fact, saying that, I felt way before that he should have gone. I think when we were losing like 8-2 to Man United, them times there I actually felt he should have probably gone. I remember reading a story that Pep Guardiola was interested in coming to Arsenal. I remember, if you ever search this, type in Guardiola Arsenal. Pep Guardiola said in an interview after he left Barcelona that Arsenal were the club most similar to Barcelona in terms of playing style, and that was the club in England that he felt like would be the easiest club for him to manage. And there was rumours at one stage that Wenger signed a new contract when Pep was waiting in the background potentially to take the job. And things like that, I'm afraid, just make me, look at Wenger like the actual, rebuild that we've tried to do over the last 4 or 5 years. I actually think he made it worse. I think he delayed leaving. I think he should have probably gone after the FA Cup. I'm on about the first FA Cup when we beat Hull. I think he could have gone then. I think he should have gone after the was it 2017 when we beat Chelsea? He could have gone 2 or 3 times for me. He should have left ages ago, to be honest. He stayed probably 5 years too long, to be honest. He lost sight of everything that we were as a club. He was more than happy to come fourth. Wasn't interested in winning trophies that much. Didn't want to spend money. He became a finance guy at Arsenal rather than the manager. So, but I'm just glad it wasn't on YouTube because I love Wenger and I would have hated being on YouTube disrespecting such a legend. I'm glad he's got the statue, but he should have gone. He should have gone way before he went. He didn't know when to let go. I wish we got Klopp. Yeah, Klopp would have been brilliant. I just feel with Klopp is made for Liverpool. I think Klopp is perfect for Liverpool. They're that passionate, club. They're a bit similar to Dortmund. I just kind of feel like Klopp was perfect for Liverpool. Where I think Pep couldn't have worked with the Kroenkes. That's the problem. Pep would have been like, yeah, sign me this top player. They go, we ain't got the money. It would have never worked. Pep would have fell out with him. Eddie plus cash swap for Elise or Eze. I'd love to sign either one of them. Especially if it gets Eddie out the door. Big up young gunner. And while we're on the subject of Eddie and Nketiah, sorry to do this to you, and I know we mentioned this yesterday, but Ornstein's confirmed it in The Athletic, and we know when John Cross talks, there's this cap attached to it. Although Ornstein gets it wrong sometimes, but he's written this in The Athletic, and, this story just... It's like getting punched in the ribs by prime Mike Tyson, this. It really is. David Ornstein on Crystal Palace. They have a firm interest. This is crazy. They have a firm interest in Nketiah, but Arsenal have not indicated any desire to let him go so far. If that changes, I'd expect Palace to push hard. Pause. Just let the brother leave. What are you waiting for? What the hell are you waiting for? What are you waiting for, bro? They want him. I can't believe they actually want him. And you're right. Look at the photo. He's mocking me again. It's like, you thought I was leaving, did you? Don't go anywhere. The man, we can't get rid of him. We can't get rid of this guy. Seriously. I'm convinced he's got dirt on Arteta and he can't sell him. He must be trapped. Caught in a trap. I can't walk out. He can't get out. Sell him. What are you waiting for? 1 goal in 21 away games. Oh, no, Palace. You can't sign him. He trains too well. He must be top goal scorer in training this season. Maybe because Beverly Hills Cop 4's coming out. Maybe his stock's going to go up when the film comes out. Just sell him. It's crazy. He's actually holding us hostage at this point. It's like money heist. They've took over the bank. You can't get out. Stockholm Syndrome. One of the many reasons is to sack Arteta. This Eddie and Nketiah thing, honestly, it's outrageous. Honestly, I know I laugh and joke about it and call him Eddie Murphy and Zamunda and Akeem and all that, but genuinely, how is this guy still at Arsenal Football Club? And how is this manager refusing the possibility to sell this guy. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't get it. You're right. Lucas Perez and Danny Welbeck were better than him. And they weren't good enough. I'd take Welbeck over Nketiah right now. Salt Bay Welbs. I'll take that all day long. But no. 100k, 14 shirt, rejecting moves for him. Absolutely outrageous decision. I'm sorry. Even if you're the biggest fan of Arteta on the planet, you would have to look at this and go, this is absolutely ridiculous. How he will not... I mean, you've got a team saying we'll buy him off you. And you're saying no. We've got no intention of letting him go. He rates him that highly. He's refusing moves. You could get 30 million for Eddie and go and buy a striker. And you're saying no. So, if this season goes the way it might go, there's nobody to blame except this manager for this season, in my opinion. Because you wasted 65 on Havertz. You didn't need to spend 30 million on Raya when he's no better than Ramsdale. You didn't need to buy Fabio Vieira a year or so ago for 35 million. And you could have got money, 25, 30, 35 million for Eddie, and you said no. So when you can't afford to buy anyone in this window, these are the reasons why, my friend. So, ridiculous decision. Southern Gooner, big up, Matt. He said McDowell's has a no get-out clause on Nketiah. I'm telling you, I don't get this. I can't understand it. I'm confused. Sell him and see what he does at Palace. Crazy decision. That ain't nothing but an ultra per. I'm telling you, bro. Big up E. Ross. Dr. Doolittle is the only animal translator for Arsenal. Win the dog and Eddie Nketiah, people. That's our title challenge. Listen, I don't get it. I don't get it. You've actually got an opportunity to sell him and get decent money. Palace will probably pay half decent money for him as well. You know, he ticks the English. You know, obviously you've got to have so many English players in your squad. It's crazy. That's a great point, by the way. It stinks of Ainsley Maitland-Niles to Wolves. Remember that? £20 million Wolves offered us for Ainsley. Oh, no, he's a big part of our future. You know, Arteta rates him. Okay, where is he now? He's fourth from bottom in the French league, struggling to get in the Lyon squad. Guess how much money we got for him? Zero. Nothing. Absolutely nothing for him. £20 million. No. He's a big part of our future. Zero. He's on the bench at Lyon. Could be getting relegated. Now you got Eddie Nketiah. He'll probably get 30 million. We'll reject it. And we'll have to loan him out in a year because no one will want to buy him. Because actually, this is the best time to sell Eddie Nketiah. This is the best time to sell him. You know why? Because he's played for England this year. As much as I don't rate him, if you were selling him, he's actually given you a little bit of space to manoeuvre if you was getting rid of him. You say, oh, you know, he's got 5 goals this season. He hasn't really started that much. You know, he's played for England. He's only 24. Obviously, we know deep down he's nearly 25. He can't hit a barn door, but that's how you would sell him to Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace have got Mateta and Jordan Ayew and them, man. They don't score goals either. This is the best time to sell Eddie Nketiah while he's getting England call-ups. This guy's going to keep him, let his value drop. Clubs won't want him. We'll end up selling him for peanuts. Use your brain, people. Seriously, this club at times drives me insane. More Eddie to come, people, at Arsenal. How much for the full intro? What are we saying for the full intro? $9.99, we run the whole intro. We run all of it. One more time. That's it. We've played it twice. Full intro, $9.99. No less. No less. I started the money pull-up for the intro. Yeah, that was happening a bit last season as well. You man turning this into a yardie rave, you know what I mean? But anyway, big up, people. Let's move on from that. Eddie is not going anywhere, which is terrible news. But I'm sure Arteta doesn't see it like that. He, for some reason, thinks this guy is an asset. I don't know why. I don't know what he thinks is going to happen. You know, if Eddie Nketiah was 18 years of age, and I don't rate Eddie at all, and you know I don't rate Eddie at all, by the way. If Eddie was 18 years of age, playing at this level, I would still probably not want him at the club. But I would say, do you know what? He's 18. He hasn't played a lot of football. Sometimes strikers don't develop at that age, you know. They become better players. You become a grown man. You understand the league. You need game time in the men's game to really develop. Eddie Nketiah is 25 years of age this season, this summer. 25. He's not a baby that's just come out of the under-21s. He should be an established, developed striker by this point in his career, people. It's absolutely crazy. The man's older than Haaland. Now, I'm not saying I expect him to be Haaland, but he's older than Haaland, people. He's older than Alvarez. Alvarez is 23. Haaland's 23. He's older than them man there. And look at the level that he's at. All right, I don't expect him to be Haaland. He's a bit of a one-off, but you're not even you can't even dream of being where Alvarez is. And they paid like 18 million for Alvarez. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy, people. It's wild. He's come back. He said, play it. Listen, I'm a man of my word, people. I'll see you in 15 seconds. Run that ting! Pull it. Hey, listen, people. Inflation is real. The gas price is going up, man. I can't say no, right? Listen, it is what. Hey, no more though, people. No more. I'm trying to get the show finished, but hey, big up everyone, man. So I mean, the community brings a vibe to the place as well. You can't get this anywhere else on YouTube. I'm convinced. I always say you can't get this anywhere else on YouTube. Information and entertainment in its fullest, people. Big up everyone. Run the intro, VAR glasses on. Oh my God, you've come with another one. Run it again! Please, people, no more. Let me move on. I have to stop. You lot are going crazy, people. I can't lie. It's madness. 9.99's running everywhere, man. The electric's going crazy. The gas prices are through the roof. It's wild. But, hey, big up everyone locked in. We're vibing. We definitely got to have a party on this channel at some stage. Maybe on Twitch, because I think you can play music on there, right? We're definitely going to have a party on it. And a link up before the end of the season. Hey, people, big up, though. It's crazy. Bills are getting paid right now. The intro's paying. Anyway, let me calm down because I've got to get through the waffle. I'll never get through it if I keep doing this. Yeah, the rent's nearly paid. Hey, listen, right. It's that time, people. In case you're a bit peckish, I ain't going to let the community go hungry. It is waffle settings, people. With the Cone Man himself, Mikel Arteta, Cone Man music is back. He's wearing the white Arsenal merch for this weekend. As I said yesterday, Arsenal will be playing in the all-white kit for No More Red campaign that they run during the FA Cup time. This is obviously aimed at knife crime in and around the London area. The kit, I think, is really nice. On one hand, I don't like the kit because all white obviously represents Tottenham, but I do like the kit. It is a clean kit. The annoying thing is they don't sell it, so you can't actually buy it. They only allow the players to wear it, which I think is a crazy, business perspective. I can imagine they would sell a lot of those shirts if they were to sell them. But I always say the negative of that shirt from a purely footballing point of view, every time I see it, it just reminds me of Nuno Tavares getting dragged off at Forest as we were getting beat. So, but let's hope it performs better for us this week. It hasn't actually gone that well so far for us. But, hey, it is what it is. Right, let's get into the waffle with the Cone Man himself. I mean, he's been moving real Cone Man-like the last couple of weeks. I can't lie. Smith Rowe can't get a kick. Havertz is disappearing again. Odegaard has to have 30 touches before he shoots. Eddie's running around like a headless chicken. And Gabriel Jesus is at left back. He's everywhere but up front at the moment. But let's see what he had to say. If he waffles, we're skipping, people. It's as simple as that. On Alexander Zinchenko's injury and our other players currently out, he said he is progressing well. We have another training session tomorrow. We will evaluate whether he is available or not to play or start the game. As for the rest, there is no actual news now. Zinchenko has been poor this season. And the same things happen with Ben White. Last season, Ben White looked like a really good right back. This season, he looks like a centre back trying to play at right back. Last season, Zinchenko was a really good left back. He was inverting, he was helping us until he got nutmegged at Anfield, and then it all went wrong from there. However, this season, he looks like a centre midfielder trying to play at left back. He looks uncomfortable. You know, back in the day on FIFA, you play in the position, you get a chemistry level, you're a 10 if you're fully comfortable with that position. These brothers don't look comfortable in these positions on the pitch. But Kiwior looked so bad at left back the other day. He gets dragged off at half time. He got cooked by Andros Townsend. I think Zinchenko's actually better than Kiwior at left back. So, you know, it's not a good option, is it, really? You know, you're disappointed if they're your two options. But is he even going to be fit? There's red lines everywhere, people. No chemistry on FIFA. He's done the usual, we'll see how he trains tomorrow, which kind of don't mean nothing. It probably means he might not be available, but I'm genuinely wondering, if you've got no Zinchenko and you're relying on Kiwior at left back, should you actually do something totally different? Do we change the formation? Do you play Ben White? Oh, I don't even know if Ben White's available, but you could play Ben White, Gabriel and Saliba as a back three, which is three competent centre-backs, you would hope. I don't know. But I just don't know if you can play Liverpool with Kiwior and Cedric at right-back if Ben White is not available. I don't know. I mean, you could play Gabriel at left-back. I don't know. I've never seen him there, so I don't know how that would work. On Thomas Partey not going to AFCON, he said it was common sense. He has a long-term injury. He really wanted to push his rehab. He really wanted to be with his national team, but he's still far from training with the team. And it didn't make a lot of sense for him to be involved. Remember when Partey got injured? He said, we're looking at weeks. We're looking at weeks. And you're like, he's been out for months now. You know, you didn't say that it was, 17, 18 weeks. He's actually just said he's still far from training. And it's currently the 5th of January. And he's been out, I believe, since September. Crazy. Absolutely. This guy, honestly, it's so frustrating because he's such a good player when he's fit. And you're telling me this guy's still far from training and it's the 5th of January. I don't think we're seeing this guy till February, if we're lucky, which is ridiculous. I don't know. It was obviously a far worse injury than they said. On Timber's progression, he said, unfortunately, that's a very long-term injury. He's doing really well. He's still far from being fit to train with the team or something to compete with the team. So we don't expect him back anytime soon. It's what we have, the situation we have now as well, with Tommy having to leave, and we have to cope with that. On whether a left-back is a priority in the January window, he said, we are open in the transfer market, but again, the emphasis is on making the most of the players we have. We will work together with the club to understand whether there are any possibilities and good options. First of all, the focus is on the players we have. And nobody, by the looks of it, has asked him about Kieran Tierney in this interview, which is frustrating because we would have liked to have heard what he said. Salman's heard enough, said I can only take so much waffle. Enjoy your weekend. I hope I see you for the watch along on Sunday. 4:30 kickoff. I'll be live from 3:30. This channel is funny, said Big C. I'm convinced the reason we're not good this season is because Partey has only played 5 games. He's that big of a loss. I agree. I think he's a huge part of our drop-off this season because I think you have a Declan Rice, Thomas Partey double pivot. I think we're a different team. I really do. I think you see a different Odegaard as well. But it is what it is. On whether we may do no business at all, he said that's a possibility, which, we don't want to be hearing that, do we? On our rumoured discussions with PGMOL about the treatment of Saka, he said it's part of the daily, weekly communication. We have our sets of topics, but nothing specific about that one. So he's trying to play it down. It was mentioned as part of a wider discussion. On if referees are being too lenient on early tackles, he said, I think the referees know the tactics of the opponent and that some players are more targeted because of the way they play. Obviously, they buy more tackles, but I think they are aware of that. On whether there was a specific target, a specific request to the referees regarding Bukayo, and he said, on whether he's surprised by the commentary it's provoked. People like me, I suppose, saying, we need to be stronger. I think that's been going on for 2 years. We have wingers that provoke a lot of fouls and a lot of attention. It's something normal. You just got to get on with it. I get it. Refs, protection. He does get fouled a lot, but refs aren't going to help us. You saw with Calvert-Lewin yesterday. Minimal contact, sent off. The refs, VAR, they're all over the place. Apparently, Partey missed 3 games in 3 years. Comes to Arsenal. How many games has he missed? He's missed an absolute, truckload of games for Arsenal. On whether he has a feeling for winning the FA Cup after lifting it as a player and a manager, he said, a real feeling. It was a great experience to win the first title the way we did. It's a big history between our club and the competition. We have a big opportunity to start and make a beautiful journey. On both teams missing players to AFCON and the Asia Cup, both teams are missing important players. We knew that. We have to adapt. Obviously, Liverpool have no Endo and no Mo Salah. On the importance of the No More Red campaign, he said, I think it's a great initiative from the club. I think giving support and creating a safer environment with the power and the capacity that we have to help and transform certain areas of London. It's a campaign that started 3 years ago. It's helped a lot of people already and brought a lot of attention. If we can make the streets safer around our city, especially for people with kids, we will sleep better. Probably the most I've agreed with anything that Arteta has ever said in a press conference. I salute that. On whether this is the ideal time to play Liverpool, he said it is the draw. We played 2 weeks ago. It was an incredible match. I'm sure it will be a really good match. I don't see how it's an ideal time to play the team that are top of the league. They just absolutely battered Newcastle. Could have won that game 5-0 if Darwin Núñez could finish his dinner. So it definitely isn't the ideal time to be playing Liverpool. However, yeah, that's a great point. Liverpool announced last night that Szoboszlai will miss that game for injury. So no Szoboszlai, no Endo, and no Mo Salah, and obviously no Tsimikas, who injured his shoulder against Arsenal, and no Andy Robertson. So they will have to make changes as well. You probably see Joe Gomez at left back. He actually played really well against Saka, which isn't good. And obviously no Salah, so maybe they'll play Diaz and, I don't know, Darwin and Gakpo, or maybe Jota. Jota always seems to score against Arsenal. On the level of opposition, he said, we don't have a choice. If you ask both teams, probably in the draw we were expecting something different, but it's an incredible clash. What went wrong against West Ham and Fulham? We weren't at the level. We weren't good enough. I don't think we deserved to lose the match, but we didn't do enough to win. On if he is worried the form will continue, he said, hopefully not, because it was a one-off. I haven't seen the team do what we did in certain periods of the match, so hopefully not. On if it affects confidence, he said it affected the momentum we had until Christmas Day. We were top. 6 days later, we are 4th. You can be tempted to look at things with a microscope or with a telescope and look a little bit further with a little bit more perspective. My job, big time, is to look through the telescope and have perspective and analyse things in a proper way and not get affected by one performance, not the result. So he's looking through telescopes, people. Maybe he's looking into outer space. Maybe that's why he doesn't recognise Eddie's form, because, he's too busy looking at the moon. And he can't see what's right in front of him. Maybe he does need the microscope. On the FA Cup, it's a great competition, especially for the club. We've won it more than anyone, so it's a great game and hopefully a good run. If it would be fairer if every FA Cup game had VAR, he said ideally yes. Only the games that are played at Premier League stadiums will have VAR. So if you're playing at a League 2, League 1 Championship ground, there's no VAR. I need to skip this. It's making me tired. On the atmosphere at the Emirates, it will be our own. We are happy with the atmosphere we've created. Can we tweak it, make it more hostile? I think we can. How to take the next step? The team has to give more. On winning the FA Cup in 2020, winning always gives you credit. It attaches you emotionally because winning creates a special feeling. On whether that cup win saved his job, he said, I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. We won it for a reason. We deserved to win it. We did it against big teams and we won the Community Shield. I think that definitely saved his job. Was it a pivotal moment for him? He said, I think it helps. On the mid-season break being interrupted by a possible replay, said the break will be minimal. We have plans for both scenarios. Whether the FA Cup should consider scrapping the replays, he said, I think so. Who will play in goal? He said, I cannot tell you. We'll see on Sunday. How long will Partey be out for? He said, hopefully it's weeks. How many weeks will depend on how long the next step of training will take. On how Fabio Vieira is recovering, he said he's doing well. Hopefully in the next few weeks we can have him. So he's out for weeks. How close Smith Rowe was to leaving, that was never part of our plans. Whether he would stand in the way of a player if he has to leave, he said it's a two-way conversation. Whether he has less control over scoring goals as a coach. Overall, the execution, I'm going to skip it. On whether he tries to emulate that in training, yeah. On why the forwards are less prolific than last season. I think what they did last year was exceptional. To maintain those numbers, we knew would be difficult because it was a one-off, not just for us, a one-off in the league. So we know that we need all the resources for these kinds of goals. It's hardly a one-off, you know. Saka got 15 and Martinelli got 15 and Jesus got 11. They're not numbers that, you know, blow your mind and you know, oh, it's a one-off. He got 30 goals. They got 15, 15 and 11. Like, that should not be unattainable at a club like Arsenal. So I don't see it as a one-off. Listen, people, we're going to round up there. I will have a preview out tomorrow with a little bit more detail. That'll be pre-recorded. I'll also have a transfer video out tomorrow, so look out for that as well. And obviously we'll have the watch along on Sunday, 4:30 kickoff, so I'll be live at 3:30. Oh, okay, I've got a few more super chats to round up. Lawrence, thank you, member for 23 months. We're keeping the theme all the way to the top. Let's go. And only YouTube channel where you pay for the intro. Another one, turn the damn intro. Run it back, my bro. Okay, we'll go one more time before we leave, people. Run the ting! Do you know what? I'll cut it short because we're rounding up now anyway. But listen, big up to everyone today. It's been a great vibe. Waffle settings from the manager. We're running back the intro. That intro's probably paid the rent for this month almost. But listen, big up to everyone for tuning in. Really appreciate it. The intro's going all the way to the top, people. I can't lie. That ain't changing. But anyway, big up to all of you. Hope you have a great Friday. What I will say to Arsenal fans in particular, enjoy your Friday and your Saturday. Because the way Arsenal are playing at the moment, I don't know how that Sunday is going to look against Liverpool. All we can do is hope. But listen, enjoy your weekend. And if you're not an Arsenal fan, thank you very much for tuning in. Hit the like button, subscribe, share the content around the biggest and best community out there. Big up to each and every one of you lot. And I will see you all tomorrow, people. Now I'm going to run the intro for free. Bless!